One man's attempt at a joke became a weaponized reminder of the moment I almost lost my wife forever, leaving me with a choice between my pride and my principles. A few years ago, the air was thin and the mountain was unforgiving. My wife and I were on a hike through the Chicago Basin, a place known for its treacherous terrain and the daunting 14,000-foot peaks that pierce the sky. We were experienced hikers. We knew the risks. We knew the rules of the trail, but nature has a way of humbling even the most prepared among us. As we navigated a particularly steep and unstable section of the descent, my wife slipped. It wasn't a stumble, it was a fall. In a heartbeat, she was sliding down a loose scree slope, heading straight for a drop-off. I lunged for her, my hands grasping at empty air, but I was powerless. I am not a strong man in terms of brute force, and she, despite her sturdiness, was heavy with the momentum of the fall. I could not get her up. I could not pull her back. For those of you familiar with the geography of the San Juans, you know that this was the sunlight area. It was a terrifying, chaotic scene. She ended up perched precariously on a cliff, hanging under the drop site, a human figure suspended in a moment that felt like it would last forever. It was hours later before another man, equipped with the right gear and the necessary strength, was able to reach her and bring her down to safety. In the aftermath, there was no anger, no blame. My wife and I have never fought about this. She knows I love her. She knows I did everything I could. But for me, the memory is a wound that never quite heals. The fear on her face, the split second where I thought I had lost her forever, is imprinted in my mind. It is a haunting image that plays on a loop whenever I close my eyes. The feeling of helplessness, the inability to save the person I love most, is a weight I carry every single day. Time passed, life moved on. We returned to the brewery, a place of laughter and clinking glasses, trying to shake off the ghost of that mountain. We were with a group of friends enjoying a post-hike drink, the tension of the day slowly melting into the comfort of camaraderie. One of our friends, a man we had known for years, was talking about a future trip. He was planning a traverse from Como to Blanca and Little Bear, a classic route we had tackled a while back. He asked for advice, and I, eager to help and perhaps to feel useful again, offered some guidance on the route. And then the atmosphere shifted. The air in the room seemed to grow colder. For absolutely no reason, without a hint of context or sensitivity, he looked me dead in the eye, a huge grin spreading across his face, and said, "Okay, bro, I'm not taking advice from a man who left his wife to rot on sunlight." The silence that followed was deafening. My wife, standing right next to me, immediately corrected him. She told him he was wrong, that he didn't understand what happened. She tried to defend me, to explain the reality of the situation. But I was stunned. I was paralyzed. The man thought it was hilarious. He was laughing. He was pointing and laughing at the very moment I had felt most vulnerable, at the very memory that haunted my sleep. I didn't know what to say. My throat was tight. My chest felt like it was caving in. I couldn't face the table. I couldn't face the man who had just turned my deepest trauma into a punchline. So I did the only thing I could do. I got up to get another drink, a desperate attempt to compose myself, but the brewery felt suffocating. I walked out the back door, stepping into the cool night air, needing to breathe, needing to be away from the sound of that laughter. My wife followed me out. She found me standing by the dumpster, shaking. She asked if I was okay. I told her the truth. I told her I was upset. I told her I couldn't stay in there anymore. And so we left. She drove us home, leaving the brewery behind. But here is where the story gets complicated. Here is where the line between right and wrong blurs. Our friend was expecting us to drive him home. It was part of the unspoken agreement of the evening. We had promised a ride, and in my state of shock, in my need to escape the pain, I had simply forgotten. I didn't say anything. I didn't explain. I didn't tell him I was leaving. I just vanished. When we arrived home, I checked my phone. The notifications were pouring in. "Where the fuck did you go, bro? Bro, why are you ignoring me? Where are you?" He had been left stranded at the brewery. He had to take an Uber home, which was expensive, and he was furious. When I finally replied, I asked him why he would bring up that accident. I asked him why he would say that, knowing how I feel about it. I expected an apology. I expected a moment of reflection. Instead, I received a barrage of images, emojis, pointing fingers, laughing faces. He doubled down. He said that my hypersensitivity had cost him money. He pointed out that he was currently out of work, which was true, and that my reaction had cost him the price of a ride. He told me I needed to nut up and learn to laugh at myself. This was not typical behavior for him. We are not the type of friends who engage in that bro culture, the kind of banter that relies on tearing each other down for a laugh. He has historically been a nice guy. I have never hung out with guys who do that kind of thing, and I certainly never thought he would turn on me like this. I also know that I am not the type of person who would normally abandon someone I had promised a ride to. That is not who I am. But was I the asshole? We have to look at the context. The trigger was not just a joke. It was a weaponization of my trauma. It was a man taking the moment I felt most helpless, the moment I feared I had failed the person I loved most, and using it to make himself feel superior. He knew the impact of those words. He saw the look on my face and he laughed. He didn't just make a mistake, he chose to inflict pain. When I left, I was in a state of acute distress. I was not thinking clearly. I was reacting to a violation of trust, a violation of the safety of our friendship. In that moment, the promise of a ride felt secondary to the need to escape the environment that was causing me such deep pain. I didn't leave him to spite him. I left because I couldn't be in the same room as the person who had just hurt me. But let's be honest, I did leave him. I did break a promise. I did leave him stranded. And in the eyes of the law, or even in the eyes of a strict moral code, that is a failure. I was angry, and I acted on that anger by abandoning my responsibility. I didn't communicate. I didn't explain. I just walked away. However, there is a difference between a selfish act and a reaction to a profound emotional violation. If a friend had made a joke about my car breaking down, I might have laughed it off. If they had made a joke about a minor inconvenience, I would have understood. But this was about a near-death experience. It was about the fear of losing my wife. It was about the guilt of not being able to save her. To take that moment and turn it into a bro joke is not just insensitive, it is cruel. He told me I needed to nut up. He told me that my sensitivity was costing him money. He reduced my deepest trauma to a financial loss for him. He didn't see the man he was hurting. He only saw an opportunity for a laugh. In that sense, the friend was the one who lost his way. He lost his empathy. He lost his understanding of what it means to be a friend. So am I the asshole? Perhaps, in the strictest sense, I did leave a friend stranded. I did break a promise. I did cause him financial inconvenience. If we are judging this by the book of social contracts, I failed. But if we are judging this by the heart, by the reality of human emotion, by the weight of trauma and the need for safety, I did what I had to do. I protected my mental state. I removed myself from a situation where I was being attacked. I prioritized my well-being over a promise made to a man who had just proven he didn't understand the value of that well-being. The friend who made the joke is the one who should be questioning his own actions. He should be asking himself why he felt the need to hurt a friend in such a deep way. He should be asking himself if a laugh was worth the cost of a friendship. He should be asking himself if he really knows his friend at all. I am not asking for pity. I am not asking for an apology, though I would welcome one. I am asking for understanding. I am asking for the recognition that sometimes the line between right and wrong is not a straight line. Sometimes it is a jagged edge, and we have to walk it carefully. In the end, the question is not just about who left whom. It is about who broke the bond of trust. It is about who understood the weight of the other person's pain. I left a brewery to save my own sanity. He left a friendship to save his own ego. What would you do if you were in that brewery, hearing a joke about your worst nightmare? Would you stay and try to reason with them? Or would you walk away, even if it meant leaving a friend stranded? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about where the line really is.